Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is part 4 of What If Mileena Was in Love with Naruto. If you guys enjoy this what if, then comment, like and subscribe. Let's go. Also, the video goal is 10 likes, so let me know that you're interested in the series and you want the next part. Then go ahead and check out the other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and leave. Also share the video with your friends and link in the description. So let's go. Battle on the docks. Come out, Mileena. Reptile yelled out in his raspy voice. Their ISS on us in hiding from me. Mileena was about to go on and fight, but Naruto held her down. Signaling for her to hang on, her silently made 2 clones which hanged themselves into the originals. The 2 Mileena and Naruto clones hopped over the 4-foot-high stone wall, intending on attacking Reptile and Black. However, Black, living up to his reputation, quickly withdrew his pistol and shot both of the clones, causing them to stumble and fall off of the docks and into the raging waters below. Both of the bodies sunk underneath the tides and were not seen again. Are you kidding me? Aaron Black said with his muffled voice. All that talk from Khan and I just wiped them out with 2 shots. That's disappointing. It doesn't matter anymore, Reptile told his partner, they are dead now. We must go back to Coatl and let him know what we have found regarding Devora. And what exactly has Devora done, I wonder? Mileena said, walking towards them on the bridge. Reptile and Black turned around to face her as Black said to her, Woman, why won't you just die? He brought out his pistol once again and unloaded all 6 shots into Mileena, performing his fatality on MKX. Mileena fell to the round face first and didn't move again. Black looked at Reptile and said to him, Go check it, make sure she's dead. Reptile proceeded to follow the request. He knelt down beside the corpse of the half-Edenian and held 2 fingers to her throat. Feeling no pulse, he looked back at Black and said to him, Black, Mileena is Dia. Boom. The other shadow clone that had hanged itself into Mileena exploded, sending Reptile flying off of the docks and into the waters below. Reptile. Black called out. He looked back at the spot where Mileena had just been and reloaded his pistol. However, before he could fully reload it for another round, a kunai hit it out of his hand. Black, surprised at the sneak attack, tried to grab it, but it bounced off of the docks and into the wild water below as well. Now out of one of his precious weapons, Black looked up and saw Naruto in his red and black armor, black scarf and red drape blowing in the wind, just staring at him. You made me lose one of my guns, he said to the blonde-haired ninja, I'm gonna make you pay for that. You'll lose something more precious than that, you low-life scumbag, Naruto told him. He pulled out 2 kunai and held them in reverse grip as he said, If you give up now, I'll let you go. But if you fight, you will die. Your choice, mercenary. Aaron Black laughed as he pulled out his other pistol and said to Naruto, Taking me on alone. You're either brave, or foolish. Let's see which one then, shall we? Naruto said to Aaron, not even moving. Yeah, let's. Aaron ran towards him, holding out his pistol and fired a shot right at Naruto's head. Naruto crouched down and threw a kunai at Aaron's feet. Black dodged backwards and laughed as he said, You know you missed, right? Are you sure? Boom. Once again, another explosion erupted, causing Aaron Black this time to go straight up into the air about 15 feet high. Naruto threw the other kunai at Aaron's hand, piercing his palm. Aaron groaned in pain and then saw Naruto right above him, his armored foot high in the air. Knowing this was gonna hurt a lot, Aaron Black prepared himself for the impact. He wasn't ready for what happened next. Naruto threw his raised foot down directly onto Black's stomach, successfully performing an axe kick. Black was winded as he hit the deck. The force of the impact caused the boards to slightly crack under the immense strength from the impact of Aaron's descent from the blow, courtesy of Naruto. Aaron pulled the kunai from his palm and threw it away and grimaced as the fresh and salty air stung his fresh wound. Naruto landed gracefully and silently on the opposite side of the deck. Aaron just saw that emotionless look in his opponent's eyes, telling him that he would not hesitate to kill if need be. Aaron, refusing to get up, brought one of his sand grenades from his belt and threw it at Naruto. He pulled out his pistol and shot it right before it landed near his foe, causing sand and some fire to erupt, temporarily blinding the ninja. You think I haven't fought ninjas before, kid? Aaron Black said to Naruto, I've fought and beaten everyone I've ever come across. You'll be no different. As the sand settled, he noticed that Naruto was completely gone. No blood, no scattered or burnt clothing, absolutely nothing. That's when he felt a thumb on a particular spot on his forearm, causing the hand holding the pistol to loosen its grip and the gun fall to the floor harmlessly and the blade press against his throat so close to his jugular that the slightest movement would cause it to be cut like a razor cutting paper. You have fought standard ninjas, maybe, Naruto said quietly in his ear, but I am not anything standard. You lose, Eren Black. Just then, a single huge wave rose from the water and revealed Reptile being washed back up. Reptile kicked Naruto on the side of his head, forcing him to let go of Eren Black. He scrambled to his feet and picked his pistol back up and shot at Naruto 5 times, each time aiming for the head. Luckily, all the training Naruto had done in speed and training one's eye helped him deflect the bullets by using his gauntlets as shields. As Eren Black was trying to reload, Reptile charged forward at Naruto, claws ready to tear him apart. Mileena then jumped out from behind the stone wall they had originally hid behind, her mask down. She landed on Reptile while he was still standing and bit incredibly hard onto his shoulder. She moved her head back and forth, really trying to tear Reptile's flesh from his tough hide. "Aarrrgghhh." Reptile yelled out. He shoved Mileena off of himself, and held his badly wounded shoulder. You betrayed me. Mileena yelled at the last Zaterran. You are pathetic, lone Zaterran. My kind will soon flourish, Reptile said through gritted teeth. Soon you will be extinct. Mileena yelled as she charged at her target. She tried to stab at Reptile multiple times with her Tusei. Reptile quickly and nimbly dodged each attack, although barely. Reptile had noticed that she was much faster and, if even possible, more ruthless than she was before. Mileena tried to roundhouse kick Reptile, but feinted and swept him off of his feet. While he was in midair still, she Spartan kicked him away. As he fell down on the docks, Mileena threw one of her sei into the palm of his hand, pinning it to the wooden plank. Reptile screamed in pain and was about to remove the sei from his hand, but Mileena pounced on his other hand and stabbed it into the wooden planks beneath as well. With both hands pierced by her sei to the wooden planks of the deck underneath, he was completely at her mercy now. She rose one clawed hand, intending on tearing out his throat. Fortunately for Reptile, his partner, Eren Black, tackled her to the ground, saving Reptile from a brutal and very painful end. Eren pulled out a spare pistol and aimed it right at Mileena's face. At this range, one shot was all he would need to end her right then and there. Just as Eren saved Reptile, Naruto had saved Mileena by grabbing the back of Eren's scarf and throwing him backwards. Eren scrambled back up to his feet and aimed his last pistol directly at Naruto. Just then, a particularly huge wave of water washed over the entire deck, washing all 4 of the combatants into the water below. Eren and Reptile were out of luck, since they had to swim as best as they could against the tides. Luckily for Mileena, Naruto could walk on water using his chakra. Holding her in his arms bridal style, he stared evilly at Black and the Zaterran. Making a clone, Naruto handed Mileena over to it and said, "Take her to safety. Don't wait up for me." The clone nodded. "You got it, boss. Mileena Khanum, you're coming with me. Boss is gonna take care of these losers." Despite Mileena's protests, the clone took off like a bat out of hell. Jumping out of the water and onto land, they disappeared quickly into the thick trees ahead. Eren Black and Reptile had managed to latch onto a batch of stone sticking out of the wall from the deck. Still in the freezing water, they were both stunned to see the ninja just standing in the rocking waves as if he were on solid ground. They saw Naruto walk a little closer to them and stop about 10 feet away from them. Despite the incredibly loud noise of the raging waves from the water, they were able to hear him very clearly over the salty air. "Reptile, Eren Black," Naruto yelled out. "As of now, you only have 2 choices. First, join me in returning Mileena to her rightful place on the throne of Outworld, and watch as everything will flourish. Or 2, die by my hand, right now, and be lost to these waters forever. The choice is yours." Reptile, very quick to announce his answer, shouted, "You will not kill me, human. Just because you can walk on water does not mean you are unbeatable." "That's true," Naruto said back, "but it does mean, as of this situation, you are no match for me. In fact, you never were. Now, what is your choice? Hurry up, I don't have all day. Kotal Khan is paying me 100,000 gold coins every month," Eren Black said to the ninja who had mastered all of the elements. If you can beat that, then I'm with you. If not, well, shit then. I'll pay you with your life if you agree to join me, then much more pay later on. What's the point in dying if you can make more money later? Eren thought about what he had just said, and had to agree with the ninja. Clearly, this guy knew what the hell he was talking about. Give me 150,000 gold coins now, and I'm with you, Eren Black said. Done, Naruto said. Now, what about you, Zetaran? How can you betray Kotal Khan? Reptile yelled out at his now former partner. You mean like how you betrayed mileena? Black shot back. Enough, Naruto shouted. He created a clone that popped into existence right next to Eren. The clone picked Black out of the water and jumped back onto the deck. Reptile shouted at Eren Black, traitor. I will report this to Kotal Khan, vermin. Tell me, Zetaran, Naruto said to Reptile, you are cold-blooded or you not? SS is soon which will be warm from being drenched in your blood, filthy human. Reptile shouted defiantly. Yeah right, Naruto countered. He began to make several hand signs and before he completed the last few, said to Reptile, Zetaran, this is your last chance. If you do not join me, then your kind will be forever extinct. Reptile, insane with rage, brought his feet up against the wall underneath the water and pushed up as hard as he could, launching himself up and out of the water and towards the black and red armored ninja. Sighing, the said ninja muttered to himself, not even dying with honor. What an idiot. Completing his jutsu, Naruto shouted, water style, water vortex jutsu. Right away, Eren Black was glad that he made the choice that he did. He saw what appeared to be a large circle of water appear behind the ninja and was spinning furiously, like a whirlpool that was standing on its side. Then, the water shot out like a cannon, looking like a full-blown water tornado sideways and on the ground, refer to the jutsu that Kakashi copied from Zabuza. The giant water jutsu slammed directly into Reptile, knocking the Zetaran out of the air and hit the stone wall next to the deck. The force of the water obliterated the stone as if they were made out of pebbles. Dust, rock, blood, and gore flew everywhere. In a matter of seconds, at the end of the gigantic water vortex, the Zetaran race was officially extinct. Naruto lowered his hands and began walking back to the deck after the water had settled down a little. Jumping back onto the deck and facing Eren Black, the mercenary nodded at the shinobi. Naruto was watching him the whole time, waiting for any sign of betrayal from the marksman. Naruto then said to him, follow me. Naruto turned around and began walking away towards the trees at the beginning of the deck. It was then that he heard a loud ringing noise and a huge chunk of his chest was blasted from his body. He slowly turned around and found that Eren Black had removed the rifle from his back, fired at the right opportunity. Eren lowered his weapon and said to the ninja, just for the record kid, never trust someone whose loyalty can be bought. Eren was then shocked when the ninja lacking a chest cavity burst into smoke. He then coughed up copious amounts of blood and looked down to see a red, armored, clawed hand through his chest. Then he heard Naruto say in his ear, my thoughts exactly. Naruto ripped his arm through the man's chest and watched as he fell to his knees. Naruto then withdrew his katana on his back and with one swift motion, cut Eren Black in half diagonally, separating his body from shoulder to hip. The two body parts fell to the ground in a bloody heap. Naruto flicked the blood off of his blade and sheathed it on his back once more. He then said to the air, people like you should all be wasted like you were, and proceeded to kick both severed body parts into the raging waters below and said, washed away and forgotten. Goodbye Mr. Black. Naruto then dispelled his other clone that was currently with Mileena. Receiving the memories and location as to where she was within the forest, he glad that they were undetected and unharmed. Walking to the end of the deck, he stopped just before he entered the forest. He turned around to face the deck one last time. Creating two clones, he made a Rasenshuriken and launched it at the area. The jutsu expanded and destroyed absolutely everything, leaving no impression that the docking area never existed in the first place. Satisfied with his work, he turned back into the forest to reunite with his half-Tarkatan and half-Edenian girlfriend. The end of a falsehood. Receiving the memories from his recently dispelled clone, Naruto knew exactly where Mileena was within the forest by the docks that he had just destroyed. Why did he destroy it? Simple, really. Don't let your enemy have access to any outside help. Isolate and destroy. Why make it easier for your enemy to defeat you? Naruto was trained as a ninja, and the ninja don't take any chances. After he had head into the forest, Naruto took off like a rocket. He was actually quite surprised at himself for the feelings he felt for this new woman in his life, the reason for his sudden surprise at himself. He was worried, but not just any worried, like worried about how a situation would turn out. No, he was worried for the safety of his girlfriend, Mileena. Honestly, the only ones who really cared for enough to worry over them would be Tsunade and Hinata, and he knew them for years. He practically, in reality, just met this new chick, and yet here he was, running at breakneck speed to do his best to get to her to make sure she was okay. Normally, he wouldn't give a damn unless he was on an official mission to where it would affect his pay dramatically if he had let anything happen to the client. No, this feeling he was having for Mileena wasn't for a mission, even one that he had taken upon himself. This wasn't for any sort of payment, it wasn't even for any sort of physical reward at all. His feelings were genuine. He really cared for the half Tarkatan and half Edenian. It wasn't long before he found her, thanks to the speed that ninjas are accustomed to running at. Everyone knows that they can cover long distances at short times. He found her high up in a tree, exactly where the clone had left her when it had dispelled. He actually sighed in relief that no one was around to attack or anything else for that matter. Looking up at his love, he started running up on the side of the tree towards her. Mileena heard footsteps coming closer. She was instructed by the clone for her not to move and that the original would be with her shortly. She looked over the tree limb that she was currently on and sure enough saw the man of her dreams running up to her. She didn't know what it was, but something about that black mask and scarf flowing behind him as he was running to her turned her on. His look that said he was ready for battle at a second's notice, and yet could melt her heart at the same time. She couldn't help but smile. He hopped on the tree limb that she was on and asked her, "Are you okay, Mileena?" "I am," she responded. "Thank you for not leaving me here. Now why the hell would I do something like that?" Naruto asked, a slight disbelieving tone in his voice. "Everyone else has," Mileena said. "I didn't know if you would use this opportunity to leave me like everyone else has before you, my love." "Let me make something perfectly clear," Naruto said, grabbing her clawed hand with his armored one. "No matter what happens, no matter who's in the way, no matter what the situation is, I will never leave you, do you understand? I give you my word, I will never leave you. That's my nindo, I never go back on my word. Understand?" Mileena nodded slightly and said, "Yes, Naruto, I understand." "Thank you." Naruto pulled her into a hug and squeezed slightly and said, "Now, let's get going. I don't like being sitting ducks. What is our next move, love?" Mileena asked, releasing him from her arms. With Eren Black and Reptile dead, Naruto said, "I'm sure that Kotal Khan has suffered a major blow to both his pride and his forces. We need to close in on his encampment further." "And when we get there?" Mileena asked. "That's where one of the ninja's specialties come into play," Naruto said to her. "Really? And what would that be?" "I'm really beginning to like this, my love. Spying and espionage," Naruto revealed. "In those categories especially, no one can beat a ninja. The sooner we do this, the sooner we can get you on the throne again." "Well then," Mileena said, "what are we waiting for? Let's go then," Naruto said, then grabbed her and held her bridal style. Mileena was surprised at the sudden movement, but enjoyed it. Nonetheless, she wrapped her arms around her lover's neck and said, "I love you, Naruto." "I love you too, Mileena," Naruto said, smiling underneath his mask. "Now let's get the hell out of here." Naruto jumped off of the tree limb onto the next and so on and so forth. They continued on for only God knows how long. What they did know, is that even with their coming closer to their enemy's camp, they still enjoyed the time they were spending with each other. Damn it, brat, Tsunade yelled out. "Where the hell did he go?" "I don't know, Lady Tsunade," Hinata reported, "but he was just here a few minutes ago. He just disappeared." Naruto had gone back inside his little wooden cabin that he had created after the whole fiasco that wasn't even that big of a deal, and about 10 minutes afterwards, Hanabi was sent to go check on him. She had come running back telling them that he wasn't there, causing Tsunade very recently to curse out loud. "However, I do see someone inside the cabin," Hinata pointed out. "What does his chakra look like, Hinata?" Sakura asked the Hyuga princess. "It's green," she responded. Then that's probably Ermac, Sakura said. He might know where they went, let's go ask him. Nobody moved for a minute and Sakura said, well, isn't anyone going to go ask him where they are? I'm not going in there, Kiba said out loud. That guy, or zombie, whatever he is, smells completely of death and something else. No way me or Akamaru are going in there, screw you guys. Right Akamaru. Woof. Akamaru barked in agreement. I don't care, Tsunade said, donning her green jacket and walking towards the cabin. You are all just a bunch of spineless little brats. Naruto would never have hesitated. That's just one of the many things I admire about him. There are a few mumbles of agreement and disappointment among the Konoha group as they watched their former Hokage walk towards the cabin. Why didn't you do anything? Lord Sixth Hanabi asked Kakashi. Do you honestly think I'm going to further aggravate an already aggravated woman? Especially when that woman's the Sannin and 5th Hokage. Kakashi replied. Smart man, Kiba said. Tsunade kicked open the wooden door to the cabin and turned towards the being born by sorcery. Ermac, right, Tsunade said to the creature. That is what we are called, yes, Ermac responded. Could you tell me where Naruto and mileena are? They are not here, Ermac said simply. The already aggravated woman was now getting more so by the minute, and this guy was not helping her at all. Look, Ermac, I am really not in the mood to play any stupid games right now, so please just tell me where they are. They left approximately 10 minutes earlier, the creature said. That is all we know. The one known as Naruto has also asked us to not let you know where they were going, as you would only interfere with the mission. Damned brat. Tsunade yelled as she threw a punch at the wall of the cabin, almost shattering the entire wall. I've had enough of this cat and mouse game, damn it. When I find that kid, I make him into my own personal punching bag. Tsunade turned around and walked back to the small camp consisting of the Konoha ninja that had come with her and announced, Alright everyone, looks like Naruto ditched out on us again to continue his mission, which if I remember correctly, he said was to restore that woman to her throne. We are going to search for him and aid him if possible. After that's done, his ass is mine. Let's go. Kiba, you and Akamaru take point. Hinata and Hanabi, you two will be the scouts, use your ability alternatively. Choji, you and Shikamaru take rear. Everyone else, take center in a wedge formation, and don't stray out of line. Hi, Hokage-sama. All of the Konoha ninja shouted as one. Within minutes, everyone was ready to go. Akamaru trailed around the area of the cabin and eventually caught the scent of Naruto and mileena and barked loudly. Hey guys. Kiba yelled out, Akamaru's got their scent. Good job buddy. Good job Akamaru, Tsunade said as she walked up. As we discussed, lead the way. Roger. Kiba said. He hopped on Akamaru's back and they leapt forward into the trees and everyone else fell behind in the designated formation. Sooner or later, they would find their fellow Konoha ninja and his girlfriend. Ellipsis. Hanzo Hasashi, aka Scorpion, grabbed Quan Kai by the throat and held him off the ground and said in a cold fury, You killed my wife. My son. And then you burrowed your way into my head, misdirected my vengeance. You cost me my one chance to have them restored. Quan Kai struggled to speak after the brutal beatdown he had just received from the specter turned human. Your family, AAARRRRRGG. Scorpion said as he threw the sorcerer back. He was about to throw the killing blow when a portal opened up a few feet away. The insect queen, Devora, stepped through, holding Shinnok's amulet. She saw the state of her fellow worshipper in such a sorry state and worried immediately, as he was the only one who could restore their true master. Quan Kai, she shouted in her high-pitched voice. Scorpion saw that she was allied with him and was immediately filled with unbridled rage. Anyone allied with the sorcerer deserved to die in his mindset. He charged forward, sword at the ready. Devora brandished her stingers and they had a brief duel. Scorpion cut off one of her stingers and was about to cut off the other one. However, Devora struck true as she launched the other one directly into his shoulder, momentarily paralyzing him. She ran past him and kneeled next to her lord as he wheezed out the word, You, let. Devora presented the amulet to her lord but was shocked to see a huge kunai suddenly burst from his chest. She looked back at the source and was actually afraid from the voice that yelled out. Get over here. Quan Kai was yanked out of Devora's grip as he was pulled violently back towards the vengeful spirit of Scorpion. He held his victim up by the chain of his kunai as he held up his sword to deliver the killing blow. Everything that happened next did so in slow motion. Quan Kai held out his hands and began to recite the chant that would free his master. Devora threw the amulet into his hands the very second before the cold steel that was Scorpion's sword sliced through his neck, making a clean cut and successfully beheading the pale bastard. However, before his death, Quan Kai had succeeded in his long-time goal. Shinnok was about to be free from his imprisonment. As Quan Chi's headless body fell to the ground, the amulet fell from his hands and stopped moving on the ground. A second later, the purple and red energy once used to seal him inside was gushing out like a tornado, and Shinnok, the fallen elder god, was free and inside Earth realm. Scorpion charged at the fallen elder god, but Shinnok simply turned around and blasted him away with an enormous amount of power, and the same with Sonya, Johnny Cage, and Kenshi. Shinnok looked around and said to himself, how small they are. Devora walked up to Shinnok and bowed to him and said, this one greets Lord Shinnok. Raiden was in the Gensei chamber when his eyes snapped open with worry. He had felt that Shinnok had been freed. Last time they had imprisoned the fallen elder god in the Netherrealm, he had had the help of numerous and very powerful Earthrealm warriors. This time, however, he did not. He needed help, because he knew that he could not take Shinnok down by himself. Even though Shinnok was a fallen elder god, he was still an elder god, and he was not. He tried to think and rattle his brain for any outcome that may play out in their favor, but unfortunately he could find none. Then, he came to a conclusion. If he did not have any Earth Realmers to help him fight, or not enough anyway, he would have to find outside help. And he knew exactly where to find some. It was then that Shinnok came into the Gensei chamber. Raiden knew he was out of time. Yet, he would not let this creature of darkness and evil just take the chamber. Raiden would give it his all before he fell. Cassie and her team of Jackie, Jin, and Takeda were in their plane as they were flying. Jackie saw the sky ahead turning red and said, hey guys. I'm gonna have to land this thing, it's beginning to not work right. What the hell is that? Jin asked, pointing at the red sky. I dunno, Cassie said, but we better land. I don't wanna be in the sky if that shit is. 15 minutes later, Cassie was on the side of the wing inspecting some of the wiring and couldn't fix the problem. Fuck me, she said, looks like we're stuck on foot from here on out guys, this plane's done. Nothing like a walk in the park, Takeda said. Cassie and Jackie landed on the ground and walked to where Takeda and Kung Jin were standing. So we need to get to Raiden's Sky Temple, right? Jin asked. That's right, Cassie confirmed. Let's get going. The sooner we get to Raiden, the sooner he can take us back to Naruto to help him out, like he helped us. They headed towards the source of the red clouds, which was the Sky Temple. They could tell that Shinnok had taken over, and it was only a matter of time before shit really hit the fan. Their fun only increased when they saw a portal about 50 yards to their side open up, revealing Kotal Khan and his Oshtek army walking through. Kotal Khan immediately saw them and yelled out, "Bring me their heads." The entire Oshtek army that Khan had brought charged as one towards the Earth Realm force of 4. Any ideas? Takeda yelled out. Fall back. Cassie yelled out. Switch to guerrilla tactics, now. The Earth Realm team ran closer towards the Sky Temple. When they got far enough, they all split and hid among the many trees. Kotal Khan soon after walked through the area with his many soldiers, awaiting their master's command. Come out, you fools. Kotal Khan shouted as he slowly walked through, his entire army behind him. I can sense that you are here, come out, and die a warrior's death, or die like a coward. Either way, you will meet your end. Boom. Kotal Khan and the ones directly behind him were blown back by a grenade. Many more grenades were thrown at random spots, blowing the unsuspecting army to bits. There was a few Oshtek soldiers towards the middle that were hit by some sort of plasma beam. The ones that were hit by it were disintegrated in an instant. In seconds, 10, 20, 30 soldiers serving Khan were no more. Towards the back, about 20 Oshtek soldiers met their end with an energy arrow to the head, neck, or chest cavity. And towards the front, shuriken connected with jugular veins and skulls. Standing up, Kotal Khan was furious. He shouted and brought up his sword and slammed it on the ground, causing a huge earthen shockwave to occur. It apparently did the trick, as they all saw Kung Jin, Takeda, Jackie, and Cassie Cage fall out of the trees surrounding them. Seize them! Kotal Khan shouted. A few minutes later, the 4 Earth Realmers were brought before the Emperor of Outworld on their knees. Look at you, Kotal Khan said to them in a disappointed tone of voice. You were allied with me, back in Outworld, and you could have been great. But then, you all turned traitors against me. You double-crossed us, remember? Kung Jin yelled out. He was then rewarded for his outburst with a backhand from the Emperor. Regardless of the fact, Khan said, you all are going to die today. Kotal Khan. Jackie said out loud, the situation has changed. Shinnok has been freed and has taken over the Gensei. If we work together, we can stop him. Kotal Khan lowered his weapon and looked up at the sky and witnessed more of the red cloud-like mist quickly spread across the atmosphere. Looking down and placing both hands on his weapon, he thought quickly as his eyebrows furrowed and said, it is too late for Earth Realm, Shinnok is now its new master. I will bring him your heads, give Outworld time to bolster its defenses. He brought his weapon up and brought it down 4 times, one after the other. Cassie, Jackie, Jin, and Takeda were split in half from the head down. Their bodies each fell to the ground, lifeless. Blood was pooling around them all in great amounts. Kotal Khan took in a deep breath and sighed in relief. Now, his next target, mileena. Ellipsis. How the hell did you get here? Jin said frantically. Quiet down, the ninja whispered. He looked on ahead at the Oshtek Emperor, throwing his sword around, killing 4 of his own men. The 4 Oshtek warriors that were bound and on their knees were shouting and begging for their lord to see that it was really them, but to no avail. Kotal Khan had successfully killed all 4 of them in the blink of an eye without thinking twice. Cassie said to the ninja, how the hell does he think that those 4 dumbasses are us, Naruto? Jackie said to him, yeah, and how the hell did you even get here in the first place? Raiden apparently summoned me, Naruto whispered. He grabbed mileena's hand and told the Earth Realm 4 as they were crouched behind a rather large tree and said, we were on our way to Kotal Khan's encampment when I heard Raiden's voice in the air saying that he needed me. Next thing I know, lightning flashed and I saw you guys in trouble. Genjutsu is not my specialty, but it worked long enough for me to get you guys out of there. He thinks he's captured you 4 and apparently, Naruto peeked out from behind the tree and saw the 4 split Oshtek men, thinks that he just executed you guys. Stay here. I'll take care of things here. He thinks you're dead. Let's keep it that way. This guy is not one to mess with. He really is a noble man, he just has an entire realm to think about. He wants to eliminate any and all threats to it, to ensure everyone's safety. Which, if you think about it, makes sense. Now, Naruto made 10 shadow clones and told them, take these guys and mileena to that sky temple. That's what Raiden said he needed me in the brief message he sent just before mileena and I were teleported. Aid them however you can. Mileena grabbed his arm and said to him, I am not leaving without you my love. Naruto softly removed her arm and told her, don't worry, I'm just gonna talk to him. If he doesn't listen, I'll make him. I'm coming back to you, but I need you to stay out of the way. I am Empress. Mileena said emotionally, you will obey me. I said I'm coming to you after I'm done here, Naruto chuckled. Now, go help them so I can help you get your throne back. Why do I need to leave? Mileena asked. I may need to go all out on this guy, Naruto explained softly. He's nothing compared to Kagaya or even Madara, but he's still pretty strong in his own right. He's brutal, and not afraid to be. Or did you forget that he almost had that devourer creature thing, whatever the hell she is, pour a bunch of flesh-eating insects down your throat. I don't want you to be in the way of our coming battle. Now, go and help them. 2 clones grabbed her arms and softly began to pull her and one said, don't worry Empress, boss will come back to you. Yeah, the other clone said, you really don't think he would miss out on that bomb-ass pussy, right? Ha 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 ha. Mileena looked offended at first but then threw a very sultry look at her boyfriend and said slowly, return to me, and you will get more than this. How did your clone say, this bomb-ass pussy? I'll be waiting. Naruto smiled underneath his mask and watched as his girlfriend, his 10 clones, and the Earth Realm team run towards the Sky Temple. He turned around and walked onto the path that Kotal Khan was on and looked at his handiwork. The entire Oshtek army had been completely and utterly slaughtered without mercy. A few clones would pop out of existence here and there, but well over 100 clones still remained. Kotal Kahn, still being under the genjutsu that Naruto had placed earlier, didn't notice. In fact, he still saw the majority of his army, fully unaware that he was the only one left. Deciding to let the real fun begin, Naruto brought his red, armored hands up and shouted, "Kai!" Kotal Kahn stood still for a second, a little dizzy from the sudden blood rush. When he looked up again, what he saw astounded and frightened him at the same time. All around him, at least 1,000 Oshtek corpses lay on the ground, making the ground go from a dark brown to a dark red in color. He looked down at his feet and saw the 4 earth realmers had actually been 4 of his own. He shouted in fury as he yelled out, "What happened? Did you have a nice nap?" A voice said from behind. He turned around to find the same ninja clad in black and red armor. His blonde hair, black scarf, and red drape from his shoulder armor drift in the wind as it blew past them. "Or did you just have a nightmare? You!" Kotal Kahn shouted, pointing his sword at the ninja. "What did you do?" Naruto just shook his shoulders and said, "Only what us ninja do best, spy, disorientate, and kill. Looks like I did a pretty good job, huh? You killed my entire army." Kotal Kahn shouted, "You will die for this." "Actually, Kotal Kahn," Naruto said, "before you react to your emotions, I ask you to think for just a minute. If I can do all of this single-handed, what can I do to just you? I slaughtered your army, you are just a single man. If you think about it, you don't stand a chance." "Maybe so," Kotal Kahn said quietly, wondering how to kill the ninja in front of him. "But, I am no mere man. I am Coatl. I am Buluk. I am the Emperor of Outworld. I bring to glory to my realm. You cannot kill me." "I don't want to kill you," Naruto said. That confused Kotal. He then said, "Then why are you here?" he asked suspiciously. "To talk," Naruto said calmly. "You wrongfully stole the throne from Mileena. I understand she was brash and hot-headed, but HSE has advanced in leaps and bounds, and is now ready to rule properly and fairly. I ask that you return the throne to her, and you will be second in command, answering only to her." "That is absolutely foolish," Kahn said to Naruto. "You are asking me to let a mad woman to rule again, when she had already failed the first time. Says the one who let his best of generals die." Naruto countered. "Says the one who lost his only Zateran and his mercenary. Lost my Zateran and mercenary." Kotal Kahn said quietly, thinking of where the ninja was getting at. High eyes widened and then yelled out, "You killed Reptile in Black." "I did," Naruto said. "It was their fault though. They wrongly assumed that I had let Devora escape with the amulet, which of course is false. They attacked to kill. I obviously defended myself and Mileena. I will kill you, vermin," Kotal Kahn shouted. "And I will kill Mileena next. Say what you want about me, I could care less," Naruto said hotly, "but if you threaten my girlfriend again, I'll kill you here and now." Kotal Kahn then laughed uproariously as he repeated, "This is preposterous. You are with Mileena. Now I must kill you for allying with a traitor to Outworld. Prepare to die." Naruto sighed in resignation as he said quietly, "I tried. Oh well, some people you just can't change." Naruto crouched down and stood in a stance similar to the gentle fist, his sharpened red gauntlets and talons at his greaves ready to tear flesh apart. If you are having a hard time imagining that, think of Ryu Hayabusa when he uses the falcon's talons in Ninja Gaiden. As Kotal Kahn closed in, he raised his sword, aiming to cleave the little blonde ninja in half like he had done so with his 4 men earlier. Naruto nimbly dodged the attack and jumped and performed a roundhouse kick in midair that connected with Khan's face that cut across his face at the same time. The blow caused the Oshtek Emperor to stagger backwards a little. Kotal Kahn was stunned at the force of the blow that he had just received. Not even Tor had hit him that hard when they had trained before. He saw Naruto charge forward and jump in the air again, one hand opened up behind him, ready to claw his flesh off like a hot knife carving hot meat off the bone. Kotal Kahn brought up his sword to block the blow. Coatl was shocked to see the sword actually crack from the blow. He knew his sword couldn't take much more or it would shatter like glass. Naruto quickly dropped low to the ground and swept the Oshtek off of his feet. Before Kahn hit the ground, Naruto performed a backwards flip kick, think of Guile's flash kick from the Street Fighter game, and knocked him back in the air. Naruto jumped up in the air again and did a palm strike directly onto Kotal Khan's chest, sending him flying to the ground like a missile. Kotal Khan hit the ground, hard. The ground cracked around him, a testament to the force he had been hit with. He shakily stood up and saw Naruto slowly walk towards him. "I've done my research on you and your kind, Coatl," Naruto said, "as well as what mileena told me. During the day, you and the other Ostek are incredibly powerful, that the sun is the source of your strength." Naruto looked up and saw the dark red sky, and so did Kotal Khan. No sun in sight. "As you can see," Naruto continued, "your main source of power has been obscured. You stand no chance. And even if you did have the sun, you still couldn't win. I will give you one final chance, Kotal Khan, and only because I know that you are noble, and have the best interests of Outworld at heart. Surrender, give up the throne, and you will not only survive, you shall remain in a position of power. If you do not, you will die here. There is no shame in admitting defeat." Kotal Khan stood up and shouted at Naruto, "I am Coatl. I defeated Guro. I overthrew mileena and took the throne as my own. You will not defeat me." Once again, Naruto shook his head and said, "So be it. You disappoint me, Kotal Khan. May you rest in peace." Kotal Khan immediately started to chant. Even though there was no sunlight, he could still use attacks based off of the sun. "Up the stair path, to the fire's edge, I pray to the sky, to scorch the land." Kotal Khan shot his hand forth and a huge fire stream came charging at Naruto. Naruto didn't know what to expect from the Ostek, but knew to prepare for the rest. He was glad he did. Naruto jumped up high and onto one of the tree limbs of a nearby tree. He hastily went through several hand signs and brought one hand down, the other hand holding its wrist. Lightning sparked to life in his hand and began to grow and grow. In about 30 seconds, the spark of lightning grew to the size of a beach ball. He then threw his hand up in the sky, sending a huge bolt of lightning into the sky. Kotal Khan looked up and said to no one in particular, "By the gods, has he defeated Raiden and controlled his power?" Naruto looked down at the Ostek and told his opponent, "I gave you 2 fair chances, Coatl, and you foolishly refused. Meet your end. I'm copying this from a friend of mine, with my own little twist, creating an entirely new jutsu, mixed with the sage arts." The darkened red sky swirled, huge streaks of lightning shooting erratically. Finally, Naruto shouted out, "Sage art, lightning dragon." Kotal Khan hadn't been afraid of too many things in his lifetime. But when he saw the football field-sized dragon of lightning coming down towards him, he knew he had met his end. He did the only thing he knew an honorable warrior could do at the end. He shouted in defiance of his enemy, not showing fear. "Arrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr of electricity and a large portion of the forest caught on fire. As the lightning faded, he looked down and sure enough, saw the charred remains of the being once known as Coatl. The throne of Outworld now just awaited the Empress to reclaim it. Naruto hopped down onto the ground. Performing several more hand signs, he created a large water ball in front of him and then launched it up high into the sky, and then caused it to rain across the area, slowly putting out the fires around him. Think of Rain's outro in MK9. He took a deep breath and then ran towards the Sky Temple as fast as he could to catch up with his girlfriend. He wanted to end this once and for all. Battle at the Sky Temple. Naruto ran up the side of the Sky Temple for only God knows how long. The structure wasn't called the Sky Temple for nothing after all, it was literally reaching up past the clouds. He must have ran up the walls of the building for at least half an hour at his fastest speed. When he finally reached the top, he could hear the sounds of fighting. He jumped over the side and landed on the large balcony and saw what looked like zombies fighting the Earth Realm team and his girlfriend. One of the zombie-like women with white hair and a dark revealing outfit walked up to Cassie and said to her, "Come child. Be with us, and I will give you a proper upbringing." He looked again and saw that mileena, Takeda, Jin, and Jackie were fighting Kung Lao, Striker, and Kabul, although they were having a very hard time in even holding their own. It almost seemed as if in their zombie-like state they had become twice as powerful as they were in real life. Mileena took a hard hit in her stomach by Kung Lao and flew backwards, then rolled on the balcony. Naruto picked her up, something the half-Edenian was surprised of. "Naruto," Mileena said, surprised. "What are you doing here?" she said, holding her stomach. "Obviously," Naruto said lovingly, "you could use my help." "I don't need your help," Mileena said pridefully. That blow that I just saw says differently, Naruto said to her. Don't worry, these guys look way stronger than normal. I've got this, you sit here and rest, I can tell you've probably got a broken rib or two. Who are you? The zombie Kung Lao said as he walked forward. My target is Mileena, not you, whoever you are. Leave, and you will not be harmed, this does not concern you. Naruto stood up and said to the dead Shaolin, you attack my girlfriend, you are attacking me as well. I am Naruto Uzumaki. Remember it. He suddenly disappeared from Kung Lao's view. He looked around, frantically to search for his opponent but with no success. Show yourself, Kung Lao ordered. As you wish, a voice said from behind him. Kung Lao turned around quickly but was rewarded with an uppercut to the jaw. Kung Lao, even though dead, could not remember a time in which he had been hit harder. As he landed on the ground, the cement of the balcony underneath him cracked. He winced as he got up, holding his now cracked jaw. You are strong, Kung Lao said as he got up to his feet, but you are no match for a Shaolin. Kung Lao swiped his hand across the blade of his hat and got into his white lotus stance. I am the Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku, Naruto countered, opening his eyes to reveal the yellow eyes with the toad-like iris. You will die. Kung Lao threw his hat towards the ninja, aiming on decapitating him. However, Naruto, in his sage mode, simply grabbed the hat in midair and held it there for Kung Lao to see. Without your weapons, Naruto stated, you stand even less of a chance, and proceeded to toss the hat over the balcony and into the clouds. Kung Lao simply smirked as his hat reappeared on his head. I am never without my weapons. Neat trick, Naruto said. Beat this one. Naruto retrieved 2 shuriken and threw them with unparalleled accuracy. He then performed his signature hand sign and yelled out, Shadow Shuriken Jutsu. The 2 shuriken turned into 50 as they hurled towards their target, the zombie Kung Lao. Kung Lao's eyes widened as he removed his hat and held it in front of him like a shield. The act did prevent from any of them striking at any lethal points, however a few did manage to embed themselves into his legs. Kung Lao grimaced in pain as he fell to his knees, no longer able to use his legs. In an act of desperation, he threw his hat in a wide arc that once again would ultimately head towards decapitating the ninja. Naruto ducked and rolled underneath the hat and ran towards the downed Shaolin warrior. He jumped over the next hat toss after it had reappeared on his opponent's head and then, once he reached his target, Naruto threw a nasty right hook into the zombie's jaw, the breaking and shattering of his jaw clearly audible. As his head flew back from the blow, Naruto grabbed his collar and rose him to his feet and delivered several blows to the man's stomach and rib cage. He hit Kung Lao 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in the ribcage. By this time, Kung Lao was coughing up blood. Severely weakened from the sage's blows as well as the shurikens almost completely embedded in his legs, Kung Lao didn't have much fight left in him. In his final act of defiance, he threw a large right hook at the blonde-haired ninja wearing red and black armor. Naruto ducked and when he came up, delivered another brutal uppercut. Although this time, the blow had nature energy behind it, causing the defeated Shaolin to fly up in the air about 15 feet high. Naruto jumped to meet him in the air. Once he came face to face with the airborne zombie, everything seemed to move in slow motion. Naruto withdrew his sword from his backhand. In an amazingly quick burst of speed that the naked eye couldn't see, Naruto cut off all limbs, decapitated him, and cleaved the limbless torso in half. Naruto landed first. He turned to face his girlfriend and she watched as the bloody and severed body parts of the already dead Kung Lao rained on the balcony behind her lover. Naruto flicked the blood off of his blade and sheathed the death dealer onto his back. Damn it, woman. He had heard Cassie yell out, I need to get to my dad, he's in there. I can fight you afterwards you dumb bitch. Naruto turned around to find that Cassie was having a very difficult time holding her own against the white-haired woman. Naruto created 3 clones that charged the woman's side and tackled her to the ground. Cassie was surprised at the sudden intrusion, but wasn't complaining. She saw Naruto run at her side as he said, Go, I've got this. Are you sure? Cassie said, wincing from the bruises she was sure to feel form later. She's very powerful. So am I, Naruto said to her, still in sage mode. Now go. Cassie didn't need to be told again as she nodded and headed inside. Jin yelled out, Hey Cass, wait for me. He turned to Striker and said to him, Sorry, gotta go. And took off after his partner. Get back here, Stryker said as he pulled out his pistol and aimed it at the archer's back. Before he could have pulled the trigger though, he was tackled as well by two Naruto clones. The shot was fired, but fortunately it went right past the newest of the Shaolin warriors. Naruto got into a low stance similar to the gentle fist as his claws at the end of his red armored gauntlets seemed to shine in the moonlight and the rain. Sindel and Stryker looked a slight distance behind the ninja and saw the severed head and his body cut to ribbons, his blood being washed away by the rain. Sindel yelled out, "You killed Kung Lao." "He attacked my girlfriend," Naruto replied, his sage eyes seemingly glowing in the rainy darkness. "Of course I killed him. You are a dead man," Stryker yelled out. "Indeed," Sindel said, "for the death of our comrade, you will pay with your own life." "Sorry," Naruto said, "I'm not paying for anything today. You can join your friend in hell though. All you have to do is come on forward, I'll gladly send you to him." Enraged, Stryker charged forward to his enemy, Naruto. This proved to be a foolish move because for one, even though he was somehow twice as strong as a zombie, he was still just a weak human in real life, so there was no real improvement. He threw several hard but predictable blows towards his target, the blonde-haired ninja. Naruto was able to easily block each and every one without even trying very hard. "If this is all you got," Naruto said, "then I'm afraid that our fun has ended. Check this out," Stryker yelled as he dodged back quickly and threw a grenade towards Naruto. Once he was back far enough, he drew his pistol and shot a bullet at the explosive. Naruto kicked the grenade up high into the sky and dodged the bullet. Naruto threw a kunai that buried itself into Stryker's shoulder holding the gun. He gripped the handle of the kunai and grimaced loudly as he attempted to remove it from his body. However, Naruto was in front of him before he could succeed. Naruto grabbed the blade and yanked it out of his opponent's shoulder none too gently, causing blood to openly spill from the wound. Stryker gasped in both shock and pain, but it didn't last long as Naruto used the same blade to create an open gash across the zombie's throat, making even more blood spew like a fountain. Stryker fell to his knees, blood just seemingly to continue to spray from the wound in his throat. Finally, he fell to the floor of the balcony face first, dead from his wounds and from blood loss. Sindel glared at the ninja with hatred in her eyes. "You may have defeated that weak human," she stated, "but I am Sindel. I am the Queen of Edenia. None have ever defeated me." "Then how did you die?" Naruto asked. "I killed myself, in order to protect my daughter from Shao Kahn," Sindel answered. "Then you were weak," Naruto said simply. "Anyone who would kill themselves to escape pain is weak and useless. After all, that's what you were when you were dead, useless. If you wanted to save your daughter, you should have fought back. Who are you to judge?" Sindel screamed at the ninja. "You are not a mother. You are not even a parent. How would you ever come to understand the logic behind such a thing?" "Regardless," Naruto continued, "your own death accomplishes nothing. You will die for your disrespect." Sindel screamed. "You are indeed powerful and could have been allies with Lord Shinnok, but you are far too arrogant for your own good. Killing you will be a mercy to you." Naruto popped his neck and said, "Show what you got, Highness." Sindel replied with flying towards him, arms outstretched. Naruto ducked and raked his claws across her stomach. This simple move was just that, simple, but it accomplished what Naruto was intending for it to. Sindel gasped in both surprise and pain and fell to the ground. She stumbled to her feet and faced him and said to him, "Why aren't you fighting me?" "I'm not trying to fight," Naruto replied, "I'm trying to kill you." Sindel took in a deep breath and shouted at Naruto, using her vocal ability to create supersonic sound waves to blow him across the balcony. It worked, sending the young man stumbling to the ground and then rolling quickly towards the edge, as if he was being blown by the winds of a very powerful hurricane. When he came to the edge, he threw out his hand to latch onto the end of the balcony. He looked up to see Sindel slowly walk in front of him and stare down at him and laugh mockingly. "You fight to kill, you say?" Sindel laughed. "You are doing a remarkable job at it," she finished sarcastically. "Unfortunately for you, young man, your killing days end here. It's a shame too, you could have been a wonderful, playmate. Oh well, that's what you get for being disrespectful to the Queen of Edenia, now die." She raised her foot to stomp on the single hand holding onto the ledge of the balcony, but was surprised to see the man below her puff into smoke. She was shocked, and was then scared by the voice behind her saying, you know what I love about big-shot rulers like you. Sindel then heard the sound of metal being unsheathed as he said, even the simplest of tricks can fool you. She then looked ahead with a blank stare. A second later, a very thin stream of blood appeared from the top of her head down in between her crotch. As she fell to her knees, her body split into two halves, and then fell into the sky over the edge of the balcony. Once again, Naruto flicked the blood off of his blade and resheathed it. He turned around and walked back to his girlfriend, Mileena, who was looking a little better now that she had some time to recover slightly. "Hey, are you okay?" Naruto had asked her. "I'm fine," she told him. "Thank you, love. Don't mention it," he told her. He held out his hand and she took it. He helped her up and gave her a loving hug and said in her ear, "Don't you ever scare me like that again, you understand?" He told her. Pride can allow even the weakest to destroy the strongest. That blow you took from that Shaolin guy really did some damage. You are out of this fight for good, you understand me? Mileena protested and said heatedly, "I am Mileena, Kanam of Outworld. I do not need to be talked to. Do you understand me?" Naruto said to her sternly. Mileena had to admit, those yellow eyes with the toad-like irises were pretty intimidating. She knew he cared for her a lot, which she was glad for, but she hated how he sometimes acted like she needed to be protected like she was a dainty little princess. I understand, she conceded. She looked in his eyes and was surprised to find relief in them. He closed his eyes for a moment and hugged her again as he once again spoke in her ear, "I love you, Mileena. I know you can fight for yourself, however, I will do all in my power to protect you." "I love you too, Naruto," Mileena said. Tears began to slowly form in her eyes as she could literally feel the love washing over her that was coming from the man holding her in his arms. She openly let the tears fall on his armored shoulder, glad that it was raining. She also hated that he could tell when she was emotional as he said to her, "It's okay baby, let it all out." For the first time in her life, someone had told that they owed her, and they really meant it. That was what had gotten her to get emotional. She wrapped her arms tighter around her man as she quietly sobbed in the rain. Even though it was very high up in the sky and raining, the cold air swirling about them, she still felt warm. She then heard a new voice that said, "Ah, it looks like the creature who always claimed to be my sister has finally found a lover. I feel bad for the guy." Naruto slowly let go of his woman as Mileena growled out, "Sister. You are an abomination." Liu Kang walked next to Katana as he said to her, "You know, I think your sister could use some punishment. What do you think, Katana?" "She has been misbehaving as of late," Katana agreed. "Maybe I will show her what her dear sister can do to an abomination like her. Come, Mileena, meet your death honorably. With what honor you may have left, anyway." Mileena walked forward and pulling down her mask said, "Come, sister, let us play." Katana, readying her fans said to her, "Combat is not play." Donning her mask and preparing to fight, Mileena said, "Not if you lose." With that said, Mileena and Katana charged in, ready to tear each other's throats out. Liu Kang, meanwhile, launched a flying kick towards Naruto, which was easily ducked and, just as he did with Sindel, Naruto raked Liu Kang's underside of his thigh with his clawed gauntlet. Liu Kang stumbled as he tried to stand straight. He looked down at his leg that was bleeding profusely and said to the ninja, "You will die, ninja. I have fought and killed many like you before. You will be no different." "If you have fought one like me before," Naruto said, admiring the blood on his clawed gauntlet, "then you wouldn't be alive today. Your arrogance is unforgivable." Liu Kang shouted. "You are just like Raiden, so sure of himself that he would sacrifice his own men for his beliefs." "I would have to argue that point," Naruto said to the Shaolin. "I may be arrogant, but it's only because I know what I'm talking about, as I'm sure did Raiden. You were more than likely too blinded by pride or something else to even realize it." "How dare you!" Liu Kang yelled out. He shot a fireball at Naruto who knocked it away as if it were a toy. "You were not there. He killed me in cold blood." He launched yet another series of fireballs at the ninja, who dodged them all so easy that it was embarrassing for the undead Shaolin. "I'm sorry that happened," Naruto said, "but that's no excuse to serve someone who doesn't even care about you, much less the rest of the world. Lord Shinnok will rule over everything, it's only a matter of time," Liu Kang said. "Not if I can help it," Naruto said. He threw a few more shuriken at the Shaolin warrior, and once again used the Shadow Shuriken Jutsu. Liu Kang was much better than Kung Lao, proven by not allowing a single shuriken hit him either by dodging or hitting them with a fireball. Naruto charged at him and performed a roundhouse kick that missed, but was a feint because when he spun back around, the connected with Liu Kang's jaw with a sage-powered fist. The blow caused Liu to fly back quite a ways. When Liu stood back up he saw Naruto charging at him, a giant Rasengan in his hand. Liu Kang could only stare wide-eyed as the sage-powered jutsu connected, sending the undead Shaolin slamming directly into the wall behind him, the force from both the actual jutsu and hitting the wall behind him knocking him out. Naruto looked at his handiwork for a second to make sure that Liu Kang was out of the fight. Once he was sure, he turned around to see that Mileena was absolutely dominating her sister. With a final uppercut teleporting kick combo, she knocked Katana out. Mileena stood up, proud of her victory, and yet winded at the same time. She looked at her lover and smiled underneath her mask. Naruto did the same to her. As they nodded to each other, they both headed inside the Sky Temple, towards the Gensei Chamber, where Cassie and Jin as well as the fallen Elder God, Shinnok, were currently at. Thank you for listening. I do hope you guys enjoy. If you guys enjoyed this, what if you want a next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below and turn on the bell notifications, and also check out the other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.